Hello there, my crafty friends. It's Terry from Vegs Test Creates here for Fairy Stamper today. Today I'm going to be doing a lovely sort of mystical woodland type theme. I'm going to be using the two fairies, Jinko and Kenzie. I'm not sure which one's which. And I'm going to be using the beautiful fairy gate. I'll be using the mushrooms, I think they're the dancing mushrooms. I'm sort of, as you can see, I've sort of started planning out my design. I find it really useful to use the acetate to sort of plan out where I want things. So yeah, I'm thinking of having the gate down here with whichever one the boy fairy is there. And then having some, just the tops of the mushrooms coming up there. And then we're going to have the girl fairy coming down like this. And then I've also got the leafy scrolls and the hanging vines. So I'm going to be using these around the top and probably the sides and the bottom as well, just to make it really sort of foresty. So I'm going to start off by doing an ink blended background. I just need to decide what colours I'm going to use and which inks, but this is the sort of general composition that I'm going for. And because I want so many elements in it, I'm actually going to be making a larger card than I usually would. So I've cut this to 7 inches square. I do have some 8-inch square card blanks. So again, because I want it to be such, you know, obviously like the mushrooms, they're large. There's a smaller version of the mushrooms, but I wanted these ones. And obviously because of wanting so many elements in it is going to be larger. But I'm really looking forward to making this. So I'll see you back in a mo with some ink blending. So I've chosen my colours that I'll be using. So they're all Distress inks. So I'm going for greens and then a bit of purple and then a bit of black soot. So my thinking is that like the fairy gate is like the entrance to the fairy world. So I'm gonna have some like cracked pistachio, the lightest colour, like around here, and then build out with the peacock feathers and then the mowed lawn, and then I'm gonna have some dusty concord around the edge, because you know, sort of like purple night sky kind of thing, and then some black soot just around the very edges, and I've just kept that there as a little guide just to help me with my planning. Now what I'm using is this craft mat, which is heat resistant and wipeable and just really handy for cleaning up and like ink blending and stuff. And this is a Wendy Vecchi Make Art Station. So it's a magnetic platform with these 4 extremely strong magnets. And I find this to be absolutely fantastic for ink blending. Because it holds the panel in place and then you can just move the magnets around. I ordered myself a bundle of just cheap, inexpensive blending brushes, and I'm gonna try using these, I think, and see how I get on. I mean, I do have regular sort of like little ink blending sponges with each of these, so if they've literally just arrived today, so I thought I'd try them. If I don't like them, or if it's not giving me the effect that I want, then I'll switch to the regular ink pads, but it's just to try something new. So I'm going to start around here with the cracked pistachio. Okay, we know that sort of ink blending brushes tend to sort of lay down a bit softer than using the ink pads. It's laying down okay. It feels quite nice to use. I'm just thinking, is this going to take me like 10 years to do this ink blended background because it's laying down the colour so softly. So what I might do is just grab one of my little traditional ink blending sponges. Oh, that worked well, didn't it? Which I attach underneath with a bit of micropore tape. Okay, so let's just see if this is going to work any better for me. Yeah, see, it's laying down heavier, which is sort of what I need it to do, really. Okay, so I'm not going to make you watch all of this because obviously, as you know, ink blending can take a good while, and you don't need to sit here watching me trying to get a smooth blend. So I'll just do this little bit of peacock feathers, and then yeah, that's looking nice. Well, I would say that because these are my favourite colours. So just to say, I do have my own YouTube channel called Versafine Creates, and the link for that will be in the description box below, as will the links to all of the stamps that I'm using on the Fairies stamper store. And I just really encourage you to like the Fairy Stamper YouTube page and join the Facebook group again, which the link will be listed down below. It's just such a great way of sharing ideas and inspiration with each other. It's like really supportive and nice, and you know, yeah, I just highly recommend it if you love all this kind of stuff. So yeah, so I'll leave all my personal information, not personal information, but you know, my information about my artist stuff, like my Facebook page and my Instagram and my YouTube channel, in the description box. So feel free to come and check out my pages if you want to. But you're going to have content pretty much every day from the design team, the video design team. I think it's pretty much every day that we're posting videos, so so much inspiration out there for you. So I'm going to continue on with this and then come back when I've got a blend that I'm happy with and I'm ready to start the stamping. See you back in a mo. All right, my friends, so I have inked up the background. It's not perfect. I appear to have made a big round splodge with my sponge blender there, but it's gonna have a lot of stuff stamped over the top of it. So overall, colour wise, I'm really pleased with it. And I went round the edge with a little finger dauber with some of the black soot. And then what I've been doing is just testing out some of my pigment inks with different colours. This one is, oops, Versafine Smoky Grey, and that's double stamped. And then my hanging vines, this is single stamped Smoky Grey and single stamped Olympia Green, because I wasn't quite sure whether I just wanted to stamp everything in Versafine on Versafine Claire, the black one. I wasn't quite sure whether I wanted everything to be black or just to be a bit lighter. So I think I'm going to try with the lighter colours first, because that just gives me a bit more room. I mean, I would like to sort of go over, you know, the mushrooms in like a red, maybe pencil crayon. I don't want to stamp it in red, I've decided. Yeah, like I don't want to stamp it in red because it'd be a bit fiddly with the stalks and stuff, because the you know, the stalks are grey. But I think that'd look quite nice. And yeah, obviously it's you don't really know what it's gonna look like stamped on top of something inked versus stamped on white card. So it's a bit of an experiment, but that's fine. It's just trying out a new thing. So here is where the fairy gate is going to be. So for that, I'm going to use my acetate sheet as a handy guide. And then, actually, I'll put that on there temporarily because in case the acetate moves. So I want to get it lined up. Apologies if my head gets in the way for any of this. That looks pretty well lined up. So I'll move this off. I've put this to 4 centimetres in my stamping platform because obviously I know that I'm only going to be stamping the top of the mushrooms. So each time I've got to make sure that the bottom lines up with the 4 centimetres if I do need to double stamp anything. So I'm going to go for the Fairy Gate and I'm going to go for the smoky grey. I say I may change my mind and go back in with the Versafine Claire Nocturne or in the Versafine Onyx Black. But we'll just give this smoky grey a try first. Because it's definitely night time, but it's, you know, obviously we've got the sort of the glow of the entrance to the fairy world in, you know, in this little scenario. So, it's not as if it's the dead of night and everything has to be black. Is the way I'm approaching it, but I may change my mind, as is okay to do in crafting. And I do quite a bit, and that is just completely fine. What I am going to do is make sure that any bits of errant ink on the middle bits and stuff are removed, because if I do end up pressing really hard, those bits get transferred on to the actual place, onto the panel, which I don't want to happen. Okay, so that definitely needs stamping again. So it's still at 4 centimetres. I don't think that moved. That's better, isn't it? It's not completely there yet, but it is better. So I think one more stamp and that should be good. There we go. I'm happy enough with that. Okay, so then we're going to stamp the fairy that's inside, just flying through the portal. Do you guys do this? Make up like little stories for your scenes? Oh, these fairies have been out for a nighttime flight and now they're returning home through the fairy portal. Or is it just me? I'd be interested to know. Let me know in the comments. Oh, and if you know which one's which, let me know. Jinko and Kenzie. I'm assuming that one's Jinko and that one's Kenzie, just because of the order that they're placed in. Okay, so he's going to be there. And she's going to be here. I'm going to go for purple because that'll tie in nicely with the dusty Concord in the sky. And again, if I don't like it, I can go over it in black. So, you know, I think it's just worth trying these things out. You know, you can always go over something in black, either with black ink or with a black pencil crayon or fine liner or something, you know, gel pen, whatever. Many options. So the purple is Imperial Purple. It's a really nice colour. It's a shame that those bits have got ink on there, but it just happens like that sometimes. You know, I can cover that up with something else. I can put some foliage or something just around there. There we go. I'm happy with that. Okay, and then we're going to have our lovely Kenzie. Around here. Or Jinko. We don't know yet, do we? Put that in 4 centimetres again. Just going to try and be really careful not to get ink anywhere other than on the fairy. That stamped pretty well actually. I'm just going to go over again just to get a bit more darkness, but I'm quite impressed with the way that's stamped. I'm going to have to start using like a cotton bud or Q-tip, I think you call them in the States. I think that'd be quite good to get these little bits off. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that. She's not as dark as him, but he is against a lighter bit of background. Yeah, that's the thing that was confusing me. I was like, he's, you know, there's more of a definition. You can't see, there's not as much definition with her, but there's not going to be because it's darker. And obviously I am going to go and add detail in with gel pens and sparkly pens and stuff to make the fairies stand out. Next bit we'll move on to the mushrooms. Oh, gorgeous little mushrooms, they're so cute. So cute. Gosh, pulling everything up. Shall we get it at 4 centimetres? So it seems like such a waste of time doing things like this, you know, but you'll know yourself if you've ever ended up messing up a project because of the way that you've stamped it. You'll understand how important it is to make sure that your stamp is positioned correctly. It's just those extra couple of seconds of checking and double checking is so worth it, because to sort of end up with like a double stamped image at this point after you've done all that work, it's just heartbreaking, to be honest. It really is. I think most people have been there. I don't think I've ever scrapped a card though, to be honest, because my philosophy is there's always a way that it can be fixed. You know, that's where things like, you know, Nouveau drops or sequined or something like that, you know, some little added element, another little fairy or something, or a bit of foliage or something can be used. So yeah, I certainly would never scrap anything after it had got to this point. Definitely not. Oh, that looks, yeah, that looks nice. Again, not quite as dark as I would like. So I'm just going to go in one more time. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah, this is coming along really nicely. So see what I mean? Like when you looked at the original thing and there was that big splodge there that I wasn't happy with, it's like you can't even tell now because it'd been covered up by the portal to the other world, to the fairy dimension. Okay, let's reevaluate. So we've got our fairy door, our 2 fairies, we've got some mushrooms, we've got a blank space here which needs something adding. I think I want leafy scrolls. I do, guys, that's what I want leafy scrolls. So I'm going to use the acetate to position. So I think we can have this nice large one here, and then this smaller one can go there, and then also there. Right. Right, we're going to go with the Olympia green. Oh, that's stamped perfectly. And then there's another colour of green in this set of 10 mini ink pads that I've got, which is called Spanish Moss, which is a bit lighter, but I think I'm going to just give that a little go here as well, just for a little bit of variety. Okay, so now I'm going to start on the hanging vines and use a mixture of these two greens. I don't want this video to be ridiculously long, so I'll come back to you in a short while once I've added all of the foliage elements, and then at that point we'll be ready to add elements in to make the scene pop, etc. So I'll see you back in a short moment with that. Hello again, my lovelies. So I have completed all of the stamping and it's all now dry. It's the next day. So I used the hanging vines in the two different shades of green all along the top, which I think looks really effective. And then I've just been thinking about how to add colour and obviously make things pop, because you know, it's all a bit dark at the moment. Although I must say, I'm really pleased that my idea about having the sort of halo of the sort of fairy door / portal being sort of bright and then going into the darker colours, I'm really pleased with the way that's turned out. So what I've decided to do is to use some of my Prismacolor pencil crayons and also watercolour pencil, but if you don't add water to it, then it's just a pencil crayon. And I do love my Prismacolor ones, so I'm going to have a little bit of a colour over the mushrooms in red, and then I'm going to do the stalks in grey. My plan is that this smudge, I couldn't figure out how to cover that up, and I could have just made a mask for him, stamped it, and then stamped one of these over the top, but I couldn't be bothered, to be honest. I did have a mask already made for this fairy, so I actually did use that mask and then stamp over the top with the hanging vines, but I just couldn't be bothered to cut out another mask. So what I'm going to do is I found this olive Prismacolor pen, which is very similar to the darkest brown here, and I'm just going to freehand just draw like a little leaf that sort of like looks like this and sort of get it so it's merged into there. I've got a purple one, which I'm going to just go over the purple stamping on both of the fairies. And then I've picked out some of my jelly roll pens. I've got the gold because I'm planning on going around the fairy gate in gold. I've got the white because I'm planning on outlining all of the fairies in white to really make them pop. And I may or may not also use this on top of the dots on the mushrooms, if not pencil crayon. And I've also got my favourite jelly roll pen, which is the Stardust one, which you can tell from the tiny little starburst on the lid, which just gives a lovely glittery sparkle. I've also chosen a few colours of Spectrum Noir Sparkle pens for the fairy wings. And again, I might have to mix up some of my colour choices depending on how it goes. I think first of all, I'll dive in straight away, not overthinking it at all, just drawing a leaf. And then having the leaf join on to here. And then I'll draw another leaf as well. And another leaf there, why not? Did make sure I sharpen these pencil crayons all up, but there you go. I think unless you looked really closely, you wouldn't know that that was covering a smudge. So there you go, that's just one way of covering up errors. So next I'm going to have a little colour up of these mushrooms and see what they look like. I'm just wanting to have, like, you know, a hint of colour really. You know, that's why I didn't stamp them in red. I just, because it is like night time, so I'm just wanting to sort of have a hint of colour. And obviously we don't want the spots to be the same colour as the background. That's working well, I think. Yeah, you can definitely get like a hint of red, especially when you tilt it in the light. Apologies if this video ends up being really long. I think it's just that there's a lot to it and I want to be really quite thorough and just explain everything that I'm doing. So I'll try and edit it down so it's as short as it can be without leaving out anything that's too important. Great. Right, so I'm going to continue on and colour these last mushrooms and the stalks. I'll also colour the fairies, just their actual bodies, in the purple, and then I'll come back to you when we start to do the work on with the jelly roll pens and the sparkle pens. Okay, so I have done all the pencil crayoning. I'm really pleased with how the mushrooms have turned out. So it's just given a hint of red and a hint of grey, and I used a white Arteza pencil crayon on the white bits, and I know it's not perfect, but I'm thinking because they're white they probably would reflect. I mean, I could go and add some white gel pen over the top, and I may still do that, but I'm not sure at the moment. I've also gone over both of the fairies in purple pencil crayon, and I think that's really helped it to pop. You can really see, especially with this one, how much she's popping out already. And then I started getting a bit carried away and adding the Spectrum Noir Sparkle pen to this little fairy down here. So I remembered to turn the camera back on. So I'm hoping that the camera picks that up. You can see how shimmery that is. This colour is actually soft jade. So it's actually sort of a very similar colour to this. So you're kind of just picking up the sparkle. But I do quite like this colour for fairy wings. So I'm going to see if it's going to work on her wings as well. If it doesn't, obviously I'm going to have to pick something else. But they're lovely pens, these are. If you've never tried them, you just really have to make sure that you give it a good shake up beforehand, because the mica can sort of settle at the bottom, and then just paint it on. And so you can see I've shook this up a bit more and see how much mica and sparkle is there. It's absolutely beautiful. So it definitely worked down here. This wing is more sparkly than this wing, so I'm going to have to add some more up here, because we can't have him uneven, can we, in his sparkliness. He's got to have be as sparkly everywhere. There we go, and then let's try and see what it looks like up here, if it gives the same effect. I mean, I am going to be going round the fairy wings in the Stardust jelly roll pen and the white jelly roll pen as well. so it doesn't matter if it's you know, not as visible. I even managed to get rid of that little smudge there just at the end of her finger by extending her finger a little bit with the pencil crayon. It's amazing, I find, how you can just fix minor errors just by a bit of creative thinking. Yeah, I think that's worked quite well. It's going in a good spot here. You can definitely pick that up on the camera. Let's give him... Shall we give him purple or blue elements? I think purple. I think purple because it'll complement the purple at the top, the Dusty Concord. Yeah, let's just give his clothing a bit of sparkle. Actually, I'm wondering whether to just put a bit of sparkle on his arms and stuff. Okay, that's a bit too much. Tap that off. To be careful with these because they're water-based and I've used a water-based ink. If I'm not careful, I'll rub away the ink below. But I do think they should be as sparkly as possible because they're fairies. So just gently dab in. Yep, I'm pleased with the way this is coming along, guys. Right, so because I've just done that, I'm going to do the same for this bit of leg and this bit of leg. And then he would have matching shoes, wouldn't he? So I think the shoes need to be purple also. Oh, that's nice, like a nice deep red. Oh, and that's showing up. Yep. Yep, we like that. Okay. Okie dokie. Right, so I might need to just go over her head a little bit more with that in a bit, but for the moment that's fine. So I think it's time to move on to the Jelly Roll pens. So I've got the gold one here. And I'm going to go and just accentuate parts of the fairy gate. So just like round the edges, not colouring the whole thing in at all, just sort of going around the edges so that it'll have a nice sparkle, as if the light from the fairy realm is shining upon it. And I think it's like these little finishing touches that just sort of bring the whole piece to life, really. Because obviously with a nighttime scene, you know, there's going to be dark elements, isn't there? Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. And I just want to make sure the fairies are fully dry before I go around them with the this pen and the white one. So I'm just going to continue going around the wings with this, and then I'm going to add some highlights here and there with the white gel pen. So I'll be back in a moment. And here we go, my friends, the finished article. So I cut a mat of this beautiful Marina Mist Craft Perfect sort of iridescent holographic card, which I thought sort of really sort of picked out because it's got like elements of silver and green and purple, etc., and it really sort of brings out the colours around it. So I chose to mat the panel onto that, and then a piece of black textured cardstock from my stash, and this is an 8-inch square card panel. So the measurements are 8 inches, 7 3/4 inches, 7.5 inches, and 7 inches. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this. So I really hope you like the card, and I hope you enjoyed the video. All of the information that I've mentioned earlier, so the information about the Fairy Stamper store and the Fairy Stamper Hugs Facebook group, will be in the description box below, as will links to my own personal YouTube channel, Vegas Creates, and my Facebook page and Instagram, etc. So feel free to leave me any comments at all that you like, and anything that you would like to see from either me or from any of the other video design team members. It would be great to have any suggestions. We're always happy to hear that, and we'll try to accommodate where possible. But yeah, it'd be great if you'd let me know what you have enjoyed about this card. So that's all from me today. So take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you very soon for some more crafty fairy goodness. Bye for now.